1 year ago, I wanted to run Draw Steel, but there wasn't any examples of how to play. 100 sessions later, I've learned a lot, mostly by smashing my head through a wall. I'm going to teach you some of the best lessons I've learned this year, so you don't have to smash your head through that brick wall. Never assume that's how I did it in D&D. My first group had a player who played a troubadour because they wanted something easy and simple like a bard. I now tell new players that as a warning. I think this applies to both directors and players. Just because you designed dungeons like this, or because you like this sort of character in D&D, this game is so different. I know that sounds really, really obvious when you say it out loud. They're not the same game. But I think, particularly if you're someone like me who is already running quite a heroic version of D20 Fantasy, I think it can be easy to forget how similar the games can seem from the outside. My first adventure was 90% scrapped because I didn't account for how differently the players would engage in the game. Draw Steel gives the players so many more tools to solve problems. They're going to constantly be surprising you. And if you try to prep the way you do in Dungeons and Dragons, where you're like the players will do A and then B and then C, you're going to get screwed over because the players are just going to throw so much stuff at you that you didn't expect. There was still one area of the game that I hadn't worked out was different. Rewards are character building. Can't win in character creation. In my first long-term games, my players got bored of their characters because they didn't get enough rewards out. Every tactician is going to kind of feel the same until they get titles, until they get rewards. Telemachus in my Thursday night game didn't really feel different to Util in my Sunday night game until I gave Telemachus the title of Knight, and suddenly they're challenging people to knightly duels. In D&D, you can win in character creation. You can make a character who is better than all of the other characters without ever touching the game. You cannot do that in Draw Steel. And that also means you as the director need to be giving out rewards and titles and options to the players. If you give them a few different options, they're going to decide what to do best. It's about building a character for them about what they want to be. And you're going to find your players get a lot less bored of their characters if they have regular new abilities to add. Now that we're making our players cooler, why am I still terrified of losing? Failure should never mean a TPK. When I first started running, I killed a few players in combat, and that's because it's quite easy to kill a character in Draw Steel. If you decide as the DM, I'm going to target this one person, and the players don't have a plan in place to prevent that, you can kill them. It's not hard. You design the encounter map, you design the encounter, you put in the monsters. You can do it, like in any TTRPG. So if you want to be able to play tactically, if you want to be able to play to win in the combat, you need your villain to have a goal which isn't just killing the other players. Maybe that's stopping the players doing something, or maybe it's doing something themselves. Whatever it is, even if it's not something you communicate to the players, they need that secondary goal, so you know when they think they're winning, when they've got the players down to winded or dying, what are they going to try and do that is also losing for the players? Once you decouple that, combat just becomes a lot more fun because the players aren't afraid of losing. They want to win, but they're not afraid of losing. When they get into situations where they're a little bit over their head, they're not terrified, they're not immediately going to think about running away. They're going to keep winning. They know if they lose, something cool's going to happen. It's not bad for them. So once I introduced this, I came across a new problem. Now my players weren't ever losing, they were way too powerful. The players always have more power. Recently, I put my players in what I thought was an unwinnable scenario. On one side of the room was one of the players' parents in a cage, and they had 3 turns to save them before they die. On the other side of the room, they had 5 turns to deal 200 damage to some roll. I swear it was cooler. They came up with one of the most harebrained plans I'd ever seen, including blowing up the entire room and nearly killing the conduit. That's because the heroes get stronger as the fight goes on. The more rounds there are, the more powerful the players get. In a typical 3-round fight, what you're going to find is in round 1, the players are like, this is fine. In round 2, they're going to think they're going to lose, they're going to come up with some crazy plan, and in round 3, they're going to win. It's almost like MCDM designed this game to be cinematic. You only need to worry that they're going to fail and die if they stop talking. If you have a player who stops talking and stops communicating because they think the combat is over for them because of something that happened, that's when going to get real. That's when the players are going to have a really hard time. The only way I've seen Draw Steel players really fail is when they stop talking. It's when they think that the combat is already over and they just start taking their turns and checking out. It's not D&D. You need to be paying attention on your turn because you need to be telling your allies the things they can do to help you. As long as the players keep talking to one another, you're going to be fine. I started being more mean to my players in combat, but that meant montage tests was still really easy for them. What was going on? Don't be kind with skills. Montage tests are already way too easy. I have not had a party fail a montage test. I have been running over 100 sessions. I've definitely run at least 20 montage tests. They've never once failed. You have to be mean with skills. If you set out the task, you need to pick a lock, and a player says, can I use mechanics? The answer needs to be no. They need to use the pick lock skill. If they want to use mechanics, if they give you a good reason how they're going to use mechanics, maybe they're going to recognize the door lock and try and disassemble it while unlocking the door, that's great, but make it a harder test. If they want the easy or medium test, they need to use the skill that you've got written down, and you need to be mean. If things are going correctly, not every roll will be made with a skill. Not every test should be made with a skill. I know that sounds crazy. Your players are going to really, really want to have a skill with every single test, but they shouldn't. It makes tests impossible to fail if they always roll with a skill. Having a skill basically guarantees you a tier 2. So unless you're going to give players hard tests all the time, which isn't that much fun, you need to not be allowing them to use skills all the time. There was only one more part of the game that was working for me. It's the bit D&D tubers love. It's negotiations. It was the only part I hadn't figured out yet. Negotiations are not a band-aid you put over players asking to roll persuasion. They're going to do that in negotiations too. Can I appeal to their greed motivation? Negotiations are something you should build up to like a boss battle. You need to give players a chance to figure out their motivations beforehand, their pitfalls beforehand, meet NPCs close to that NPC, gain an understanding of what that NPC wants. Because if you're doing it right, your NPCs are not just going to have the benevolence motivation or the greed pitfall, because this system is about making the players think about NPCs in 3 dimensions. Not in 1 dimension, not in checkboxes, in 3 dimensions. If you don't give the players that chance to learn about the NPC beforehand, they're going to start trying to figure out pitfalls and motivations in the negotiation. They're going to want certainty on every single part of it. If they go exploring beforehand and looking for things, they're going to get the chance to learn false information. They might learn that this NPC loves greed, but that's because they got lied to by another NPC. I know that sounds really weird, but it's what I genuinely think. I think we need to be thinking about negotiations like the boss battle of an adventure, not the encounters. The normal encounters might still be rolling tests with NPCs, but it builds up to a negotiation. So 4 weeks ago, I set myself the challenge of making 8 videos in 4 weeks. I've never made that many videos before. It's crazy. I've learned so much, like so much in the last 4 weeks. And it's crazy because 51 of you have subscribed. Last I checked, I've had around 3,000 views on the long form videos, maybe more. I've got so many likes and so many comments. I mean, the actual Owlbear account commented on my video. That's wild, you know? Some of the people the Dice Society commented on one of my videos. Like, I watched his videos and one of the things that inspired me. It's genuinely crazy. So the final part of my little plan, I had like a 6-week plan. I didn't really think I'd get many views, but I've made these 8 videos and now I'm going to spend 2 weeks and I'm going to make something bigger, something I'm really proud of. I've got some plans for it. I don't 100% know what it's going to be, but I kind of know what I want to do. It'll probably be a longer video, hopefully, or it will be a very polished video. It's something I'm really looking forward to make. I'm really, really glad you guys are here along for this journey. It just means so much that there are actually people who are watching this. Like, I've not really had the time to appreciate it and enjoy it, but the fact that there's 51 of you have actually clicked a button to say you want more of this content is wild. It just means so much. I'm really, really excited to see what I keep posting in the future. I don't know if I'll keep up this crazy 2 videos a week schedule. It was pretty wild, but I know that I want to keep doing this. I know that I want to post more videos. I've got so much more to say. I have like 41 video ideas stocked up. Not all of them are good, to be clear, but I could keep posting 2 videos a week for the next 20 weeks if I wanted to. And so give me 2 weeks. I want to see if I can make something really cool. I want to see how that feels, making a video more slowly, how I feel about that compared to making something really fast like I have been. If you're watching in the future, I'm going to put a little end card on this side of the screen. That will take you to that video. If it's not there and you're in the future and it's 2 weeks from now, comment, and either I'm being delayed in the video and that will give me motivation, or I've forgotten to do it. And on the other side of your screen, you're going to see a link to the playlist of how to make your own Draw Steel adventure. Yeah, thank you so much for watching from the bottom of my heart. It really genuinely means the world that you've taken your time today, that you've listened to this ramble. This was a long ramble. It really means the world to me that you've taken your time today to listen to this. There's a lot of things you could have been doing, but you decided to hang out with me and talk about some Draw Steel, and that means so much. So have a really, really good day, people.